How's it going? I'm Jared Gillis. Welcome to another All About RVs. Today I wanted to share with you a new portable AC unit that is out there, and it has some accessories that might make it useful for an RV. So I put it through some tests and I learned a few things, and I wanted to share that with you today. So if you were to ask me what RV product is out there that is ready for an overhaul and an upgrade, I would say that the RV AC is one of those that is top on that list. I would say that air conditioning technology and production has come a long way, and we really haven't seen that breakthrough in the RVing community. So I'm always on the lookout for something like that. So this is something that's new for RVers that's portable. So it has to be light, it can't be too big, and it has to have a battery pack with it. So that's the EcoFlow Wave. So here's a quick rundown of the unit. It's actually already sitting mounted onto the battery base that's on here. It can be operated without the battery base. And so we have those power options on the side here. We have the 12 volt input, we have the AC input for running it off of AC, and then you can see this battery port plugs right into the side. So this battery port also can be paired with the other EcoFlow power stations that are I think the Pro and the Max can plug directly into this once it has a firmware update. So we have the controls up here. It's just a dial. We have the buttons on top to be able to turn it on, to be able to adjust the fan, adjust how cold we want it in there. And it also has a timer so you can have it set to turn off at a certain time. Now, this is a 4,000 BTU AC. It's not a swamp cooler. It's not air that's being blown over ice. It's a proper AC unit. So that the way that the airflow flows on this is the air intake that's going to be on the inside of the RV, and then this is going to be your cold air coming out to cool the inside of the RV. Now, if we flip it around and look on the back, this is where the outside air should be coming into the unit, and then your hot exhaust coming out of the AC unit should be expelled to the outside of the RV. Or whatever you're trying to cool, you don't want the hot air from the AC unit coming into that space, because then you're not going to be doing anything. So cold air out the front, hot air out the back. So this actually does have a shroud on the back for being able to connect it up to duct some of that hot air out. This gives you both the ports, and it's important because if you're expelling air to the outside of the RV, the hot air that you need to, it's going to be pulling air in. So this makes that air that's coming in to be controlled, so it's not just coming in throughout the different weak points in your RV where that air would be infiltrating in. This allows that to happen and expels the hot air. So for my first test inside of the RV, I wanted to see how it did cooling down a room this size, because I think that's mainly what this is built for, cooling down a small room. So this is like an 8x8 room. This is our master bedroom inside the RV. And I had this nice window that I could back the AC up against that window and just have it sitting over there. Not really in the way, we're not tripping over it. It was a decent spot to be able to do this test. So on the back side of the AC, I have that exhaust shroud. There's one for the front too, if you wanted to, but I didn't need it for this test. And these shrouds have the different hoses that come along with it. So this one's a 5-inch hose, and it's expandable, and a 6-inch one for the back of it. But for this, I was able to just cut that out of the cardboard and push this AC unit right up to the back of it. So I ran it for an hour. It was 80 degrees inside this room, and in an hour it brought it down to 73. It was going to continue going down, but I just wanted to see what it could do in an hour. It performed exactly as I hoped it would for a room this size. This is what it sounds like in the room. So that gives you a reference with me talking and that in the background. So when I'm running this unit on max, it's pulling over 500 watts for this AC unit to be working, whether I have it plugged in or whether I'm pulling from the battery. It seems to be pulling just over 500 watts. Now it has that inverter compressor inside, so it's not just an on or off. It can dial it down so it can be a little bit more energy efficient when it's getting closer to temperature, and it doesn't have to work as hard so that battery can last longer inside of that unit. That's something that I really want to see come to the rest of the RV industry and the AC units, is an inverter compressor or variable speed compressor on the inside to make them much more efficient. So it's nice to see that inside of this unit. And in this location, I operated it off of the battery for a while. I also plugged it in for a little bit. It's nice being able to have those options the way that they built it for those different situations and scenarios. But I didn't want people thinking that you could, because you had an AC unit, it could just cool any size room that you wanted to. So I wanted to try and push the limits of it just a little bit. Now, for my second test, I wanted to see how it handled the larger room inside the RV here, because I was considering putting this unit down in the storage area, ducting the hot air out and the cold air into the main living area. My thought was being able to boost and come alongside our other AC, or for those marginal days where you didn't need the large AC and you just wanted to cool it down a little bit, that this might come in handy. So again, I had the shroud on the backside and it was warmer in here. It was in the upper 70s. I wanted to see if it could bring it down. We were also cooking in here at the same time, cooking for dinner. It wasn't that hot outside, but it just couldn't keep up with that type of an environment. It's too large of a room and we had a heat source inside, and so it really wasn't a fair fight for trying to cool this size room while we're cooking with a unit of this size. That's not really what this is targeted for. It was a much better fit, like I had originally thought, for in the bedroom. But since it was an uphill battle for it, it really was going at max the entire time. So if I was running this on max off of this battery, it was giving me about 2.5 hours of run time for this AC with this battery that it's paired with. So if you had solar or 12-volt input, I imagine that runtime would go longer, but that's what it was giving me. So I could see this unit appealing to people with smaller RVs, like a small camper van or something like that, where it's a small space to be able to cool it down. With this, you wouldn't have to do any installs, and you also already have the battery options built into it. Oh, the other thing that comes along with this is you can charge up that battery base using solar if you wanted to. So it has a solar charge controller built into it. You can plug it into your car like a 12-volt power adapter and plug it into it. So it can do 200 watts of charging through solar or that 12-volt input. I didn't have extremely hot days to be able to test out this unit to see the extent of it. We've been RVing in areas that haven't been in that extreme heat, which is kind of the way you want to go with RVing. It's nice to not be in extreme temperatures. Now, I wanted to share this information with you because you never know what a unit is going to do until you actually test it out. So how does it work in a large room? How does it work in a small room? What conditions does it work best? Because you don't want to get something that you think is going to work really well for a certain environment and it doesn't. And then you also want to make an informed decision. So if you have the scenario where this is really going to shine and work well, you would want to know that before you purchase it. So I think that's going to do it for today. I hope to be able to share with you more innovation in the AC environment for RVs, because I think it's an area that can really grow and really get better for RVers, for the technology that's already out there that just needs to be implemented for the RVing situation. So like I said, that's going to do it for today. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos about RVing, hit that subscribe button. And if we don't see you on the road, hopefully we will see you next video.